from New York. It's the show that stayed up late to watch Roman Anthony, the Roman Empire, make his Red Sox debut. Did you catch that one?
No, I didn't.
Oh, Red Sox Rays action? For 4 RBI in an
Was
error.
he as good as Denzel Clark?
No.
He just got called up, too.
Okay, not yesterday.
3 weeks ago.
Well,
not even
a big
3
difference.
weeks ago.
We're starting with a long graphic and a major addition to minicamp for the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers making his Steelers debut in a white jersey with yellow sleeves and a little number 8 on it. We also got to look at.
He looks good.
Describe your list of sports on the radio. The teal jerseys with the names on it.
Going left. Got to look at his contract incentives via Spot Rack. Looks like this. So he's got almost $14 million contract. That's good. Playoff berth gets him $500,000. Wild card win, $600K. Increases up to there until you get to Super Bowl win, which is $1.5 million, in a league MVP, $1.5 million. That's pretty nice. So we're going to be optimistic here.
Don't say what we're going to be.
I'm going to put out an optimistic question. What's a successful season in your mind for Aaron Rodgers?
Win a playoff game. For him and for the franchise, that's what success would be. So for him personally, and this is one of those things that I seem to care about, and I don't know that anybody else does, because I've mentioned it probably 5 times, and I haven't heard anyone else in sports media in the last year mention it once.
Keep fishing. This is going to catch on.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, but it just is relevant to me.
Take of the year.
No, it's not even a take. It's just a fact.
Okay.
That none of the other all-time great quarterbacks went out like this. Like, I know it doesn't resonate with Brew the way it resonates to me, but if he doesn't win a playoff game this year, he will have gone the final 5 years of his career without a playoff victory. That's not nothing. And it's especially not nothing when you look at literally all the other guys who are contemporary, who we consider, top 10 type of guys. Not only did they not go 5 years without winning a playoff game, most of them in their last 5 years made a Super Bowl or won a Super Bowl or at least were in a conference championship game. And so not all of them, but all of them at least did, did have a playoff moment. So that's what it would be for him. And then the Steelers are getting in the Aaron Rodgers business to get off of these 2 graphics. The drought graphics that are unbecoming for any franchise, much less a franchise such as the Steelers. Longest active playoff losing streak. No other teams are at 4. The Dolphins are at 6, which is why Wild's putting Mike McDaniel in the hot seat today off the air bonus show.
Stay tuned for the bonus.
You've been hitting at that, though.
And then, so they're tied for the longest in that regard. And then longest years without a playoff win. So the Dolphins are at 24 years,
That's
which
insane.
is, that is insane. The Raiders, who have moved cities. The Bears, who can't figure out quarterback until Caleb. The Jets, who are just a dysfunctional franchise. The Broncos, who, in their defense, their last playoff win was a Super Bowl that they won, and they had made the Super Bowl a couple years before. The Panthers, who their last playoff win was right after going to a Super Bowl. The Cardinals, who are the Cardinals, who I think their last playoff win was to get to a Super Bowl. And then the Steelers, who once upon a time were one of the Mount Rushmore franchises in NFL history. So to me, Brew, for both of them, what success would be is getting to the playoffs and winning a game. That is, anything short of that will not be successful.
Well, let me address, first of all, what you said about him not getting a playoff win the last 5 years if they don't do it this year. Rodgers, for all his greatness, and he's in that top 5 conversation, I guess, he's not known for winning.
No.
Let's just keep it real. He's like Dan Marino. His numbers weren't that gaudy, but with a Super Bowl ring. And so you've got the guys, Brady, Mahomes, they're known for just individual greatness too, but Brady, Mahomes, Montana, Bradshaw, some guys are known for winners, being winners and winning. and he's not, like, he hasn't made the Super Bowl in, what, 15 years or so? Like, we know, even in his MVP years, even in years where you thought they could win the Super Bowl, he hasn't gotten it done. So I think he's like, I don't think anybody bats an eye at, oh, he didn't win a playoff game his last 5 years. Well, he didn't win a ton of playoff games, over the last several years, So I think that's kind of the bucket that he's in. I'll say this, too. I'm impressed with him taking this contract. Like, that does make me think, wow, he's really saying it's all about the game. Like, I give him credit. I would think he could have held out and demanded $20 million, $25 million, maybe $30. You know what I mean? Like,
it does, and it does, to credit for that, it does validate what he told McAfee.
Yeah.
Which is, he said, I told him I'll play for 10, and I know there's 13 and a half, but it's 10 guaranteed. It's within the margin of error.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he's not, he obviously doesn't need money, and it's not a money grab.
It's just real world. It's still
$10
million.
I tend to agree with you, but I will say if they make the playoffs and he plays well, and now his numbers last year, you look at I know the advanced numbers, analytic numbers look bad, but 28 touchdowns, 11 picks is not horrible by any stretch. If he throws 30 touchdowns and single-digit interceptions, they win 10 or 11 games and get to the playoffs and lose. Like, that could go down to me as a successful season.
But isn't that exactly what they did last year?
Yeah, but if he plays well enough where either the Steelers or another team looks at him like, oh, he's got some stuff left. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if the Steelers like, we'll sign up for this for one more year because he looked good. That would be a success for him and, in a sense, them. But I get what you're saying because, yeah, they want to win a playoff game finally, right? But I do think they're like, I'll be impressed if they make the playoffs.
But
I
know they do that. They did it with Fields
him.
And
I'm
Russ.
more thinking him because I'm kind of down on him because of what happened with the Jets last year. If he gets them to the playoffs, I'm picking them not to make the playoffs, not to have a winning record. Then I will be impressed with that. And if he looks good doing it, then he could, it could be a successful individual year.
I know we talked about it at the top of the show. Dusty, can you run the footage again just because we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers moving around outside of, like, podcast sets? As the editor-in-chief of Hobble Watch monthly and weekly is the digital version.
Walking Boot Weekly. It's your own. Come on, man.
We folded that.
Okay, sorry.
He does look good here.
Okay.
What are you saying? Okay.
Wait,
he looks good.
You serious?
Aiden Hutchinson came out, and you were like, one leg is bigger than the other.
Yeah,
I'm saying he looks good here. He's
But
moving around.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he is serious.
100. I don't like the jersey.
He looks fine.
He looks good.
What's looking good?
I mean, he doesn't look bad.
He's not hobbled.
Then he's looking.
He's not limping.
Exactly. The guy was on the cover of Hobble Watch.
Yeah.
Now he's looking good. He's moving around okay.
All right.
You don't think he's looking good?
This is what I take away. He looks fine. He looks fine.
Look at this move. One this way and that way.
He looks fine.
Good.
What I like, and maybe I'm overstating it, maybe I'm just putting something on the Jets that wasn't there. I just felt like when we saw him at Jets practice, it was like everybody else, the Jets players and coaches were like bowing at the throne of Aaron.
I think you are projecting.
Now he's just one of 53 or however many guys they got there. And I like that.
Listen,
am I projecting?
I think you're projecting
You think
a
I'm
bit.
projecting?
That they were staring at him?
It was the Aaron Rodgers show every day at practice.
Okay, well,
this is just.
It's cool that
He's our quarterback.
Guys, that did cross my mind. Like, guys aren't looking at it.
Right. Nobody's like.
It's true. These guys are like, who's over there? 26. It's like,
We always saw I can't even remember the quarterback that was the
Zach
draft.
Wilson?
Yeah, we always saw Zach like just looking at Aaron and taking everything in, and I mean
this is good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he's our quarterback. That's it.
Okay, so I get ridiculed for saying that he looks good mobility-wise,
ridicule
and you're like, I like that number 7 to the 35 is not staring at.
Don't think that didn't cross your mind. You got to be honest.
For the record, Wilds,
it even crossed Nick's mind. He won't admit it.
No, I think that's.
I have real stats.
You guys know, Brew, you know how much I respect you, and KW, you know how much I like you. Neither one of those takes crossed my mind at all. But that's
You rolled on a take that won't. It's not hitting.
I don't know.
You're like, I got to take that no one cares about
right,
for the
right.
5th time.
He's trying.
You're like, gee whiz,
he's trying to get it.
This isn't resonating. But here's the thing, guys.
He's trying to make it stick. Somebody, Orlowski, somebody, pick this up, please, pick it up.
Someone think this is interesting. That guy from Nesson, like Brady. Okay, sorry.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed that.
So stupid. All right, as for the rest of the league's quarterbacks.
It's about to get high.
All right, Chris Sims releasing his annual QB countdown. And good
Speaking
news,
of idiots.
Patrick Mahomes is still on the modern-day Mount Rushmore. He's in the 4th spot. Lamar at 1, Josh Allen at 2, Burrow at 3, there's Mahomes, and then Jaden Daniels. So, he is on the Mount Rushmore of active quarterbacks. Do you have an issue with this?
Well, listen, I haven't seen the segment. So I want to be fair. Is this a fantasy football ranking?
No. Real football.
Because if it's a fantasy football ranking, it's totally fair. Like, I think that those guys,
numbers.
Certainly last year, all 3 of them had better individual stats than Patrick. If this is an actual quarterback ranking, it's embarrassing. Because it is not, Brew, about quarterback wins. It is about all of those guys are obviously SBOB, and all of those guys play each other in the playoffs. Well, 3 of them play each other in the playoffs. Burrow's been, not making it the last couple of years. Yeah. And all of those guys play Patrick. He outplays them, and they lose.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Joe Burrow, the last time he made the playoffs, they played in a conference championship game, and Patrick was demonstrably better and beat him, even though that was in Joe's adopted stadium in Kansas City, Burrowhead. The next year, Patrick played Lamar in Lamar's one and only conference championship game in Lamar's actual stadium, and Patrick outplayed him, and they lost. The next year, Patrick, for the 4th time, played Josh in a playoff game, for the 4th time outplayed him, and for the 4th time beat him. And so those, if you put them all together, those 3 guys, all of whom are ahead of Patrick, have played him each of the last 3 years in the playoffs and are worse than him across the board, except for, I guess, 8 more total yards per game. So that includes rushing to, give, that's total yards, which is a fair way to do it. And they lose. And so the only available knock on Patrick is his regular season numbers have been depressed the last 2 years. And really, I think most people 2 years ago, when he was coming off an MVP, Brew, mostly just blamed the drops. So last year was the first year it was like Patrick wasn't as sharp, even though they were winning. To which I would say, I really hope for Ravens, Bills, and Bengals fans, one day we get to see what their quarterbacks look like if the regular season is the preseason for them, the way it is for Patrick. If they've accomplished everything there is to accomplish in the sport again and again and again, and so they are kind of going through the motions in the regular season. If that happens, and then they're still putting up MVP numbers, then you know what? Maybe those guys in the regular season are better than that guy. But until then, anybody that isn't a fan of one of those teams saying, you know what, Joe Burrow, who has not been to the playoffs in 2 years, or Josh Allen, who every season ends at the hands of that guy, or Lamar, who the only knock on him is he is a playoff underperformer, while Patrick holds every playoff record there is, that those guys are better than him. It's stupid. It's not. It's just a stupid take.
I agree with a lot of what you said. Obviously, I think Mahomes is number 1. I'm going to try to make some sense out of this because this startled me that Mahomes is 4. 1, and I don't think he meant this, but it's almost like you look at it and you say, oh, this is a regular season poll,
right? Yes.
Right? A regular season ranking. Because, yeah, they've been better in the regular season. And as much as I love Lamar, even last year when he played pretty well in that playoff game, he still had the big mistakes that probably cost him the game. You know, so there's no way you can put these guys ahead of Mahomes right now. What I will say, Nick, is this. And Mahomes, it's like, at least so far, these last 2 years, it's been like Brady in reverse, where Brady was kind of managing the game, winning Super Bowls, and then became spectacular individually. And Patrick came right out the gate was spectacular individually, won some Super Bowls, and now the last 2 regular seasons has been kind of mediocre. I will say this, Nick. If they don't win the Super Bowl this year, the Chiefs, or get there, if they don't win the AFC, and his numbers are again mediocre, I think this should be next year it would be, and assuming one of those guys won
beats him in the playoffs, wins the Super Bowl.
This would be the last year that he could enter as number 1. Like if he has a 92 passer rating this season,
and they lose in the
playoffs or whatever, then you can move him down. I just think they still made the Super Bowl. Yeah, you know, and nobody thinks they make them without Mahomes, even if you want to look at his numbers, whatever. And you also got to throw in this. I get it, he's got Kelsey, older version, but still Kelsey. He hasn't had the weapons either. Burrow has the best weapons of, I would rank it probably Patrick. You can go, I like Lamar. If you want to throw in the playoffs, you say Josh has been better in the playoffs. You can have those 2 interchangeable. And Burrow 4 for me, because the early season slumps are his fault to a large degree. And he's got by far the best weapons of the 4 guys.
Okay, so I understand Patrick doesn't. First of all, let's look at the numbers that Patrick put up. Yeah. The idea that we're saying that this isn't a conversation, I think, is odd. Here are the real numbers. I mean, he's not even top 10 in yards per pass. He had 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, pass rate, and you could say he didn't have the weapons. Well, Joe Burrow didn't have a defense at all. Joe Burrow's losing games 35-33. Patrick's winning games 17-10.
Yes, but then, which is why. I've never seen, and at no point in my recollection as an NFL fan was there ever a time where a quarterback who was regularly missing the playoffs was considered better than Brady because he put up better regular season numbers. That's why I showed the playoff performances. Because if the Chiefs were winning these playoff games like the not Flacco actually was good in that playoff run, the Dilfer Ravens, where it's just I beat you. No, but my frustration with this is this. Joe Burrow's never won an MVP, never won a Super Bowl, and has missed the playoffs 3 times in his career, right? So because he had gaudy statistics 1 year, because 2 years ago, which was one of Patrick's down years, Mahomes was better than him and Josh Allen that regular season. Regular season stats. We're going to elevate him. For Josh and Lamar, when it is, for those guys, each of their last 3 of their last 4 seasons have ended at the hands of him where he has played better than them. Of course, that has to factor into it. If Chris Sims was ranking, hey, here were the 10 best regular seasons from last year, then 4 is too high for Mahomes. But that's not what it is. It is we are saying going into this season, who are the best quarterbacks? And I just think.
But through your logic, is Jalen Hurts the last 3 games they've played, right? Super Bowl, regular season, and the last Super Bowl. I'd have to pull up Jalen Hurts' numbers versus Mahomes, but I know he's 2-1 against Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Would it be fair to make the argument that Jalen Hurts is better than Patrick Mahomes because in the last 2 of the last 3 games?
No.
You could even say he played better than him in that Super Bowl.
Well, hold on. Jalen Hurts outplayed Mahomes in one Super Bowl. Mahomes outplayed him in the other.
I don't know if he. Okay, I have to look at those.
I mean,
Hurts was great.
I mean, Hurts had a fumble. He had the mistake,
sure.
and in the second half of that Super Bowl, the Chiefs could have gained 188 yards, and they gained 187 because they kneeled down at the one. They scored every single time they got the ball, got every single yard available, and Mahomes had a near perfect passer rating. So I don't think Jalen Hurts outplayed him in that game. He played well. I don't think he outplayed him.
Let's keep it honest. What's saving Mahomes is how great he was earlier in his career, individually. Because if he played like this, like let's say he's had the same winning as he does now, but his regular seasons were like, all his regular seasons were like the last two, we would view him like Brady was viewed earlier in his career, which was not the best quarterback in the league.
That's fair, but this is where I am going to put a much larger emphasis on the postseason performances. The last 2 years, if we show Mahomes' playoff numbers, forget for the fact that he has the most wins, of course, by anybody over the last 2 years by quite a bit, and the other guys we're talking about have missed the playoffs. His postseason numbers, the all-time highest passer rating for a career in the playoffs is 103. Mahomes, during his 2 down years, is at 101, and including beating every single guy you mentioned, except for Burrow, who hasn't made the playoffs in the last 2 years. So I think it is a fool's errand argument, and I don't think, and this is what I was saying to you before the show, where do you have Patrick Mahomes ranked?
I value quarterback wins, but I'm a quarterback wins guy. You guys make fun of me for it, so it's a little strange to be like the only quarterback wins guy here and have finally be proven right. I guess I'm the quarterback wins guy. That's why That's why I think Jalen Hurts is underrated. But
you have Mahomes number one right now?
Yeah, I like Mahomes. I'm a Mahomes guy because I believe in, like, situational excellence. But it's hard to be like, you know what I wouldn't mind? It's the first year he didn't throw for over 4,000 yards in his entire career. He's 1,300 yards off his career high last year. It's not a small amount.
No, like if he does it again this year, I think then a poll like this is justifiable.
There has to be a bridge between just saying quarterback wins or quarterback wins and how well a player played and his actual numbers that in the postseason that contribute to those wins. When he
situational excellence is what I call that. He is the best. When you need a play, he is the absolute best. That being said, I do think he has, when he was great numbers, Super Bowl victories, unstoppable. It was a bulletproof argument. Now it's not winning the Super Bowl, not great numbers, and the only thing we're kind of hanging on to is playoff victories. The door is opened.
I think the door is open for Jalen Hurts, actually. All those other guys, he had better playoff numbers than him.
During this year, it's open.
Well, we'll see.
Like if one of them wins it this year,
also those numbers, a lot of those numbers were post Sirianni Gatorade. We need it.
None of those that I showed.
They certainly helped
the yardage.
None of because it was in the game against Lamar. Oh, the last 2 years. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.